be a little close to you. It's so I can run and grab attention cord. Too big. Let me go grab it. If we could, welcome everyone. Thank you for being here. We started doing this meeting several years ago, and it seems to be very helpful, very successful. Be able to give out lots of information. My name is Dr. Ozello. I'm the director of bands, director of the $1 Million Band, director, whatever you need directed. All right? I'm your person, and we have quite a large staff. I would introduce all of them that you would quickly forget because there's so many. But I'm sorry. As they come in here, I'll introduce them to you. But we very much appreciate that you are sending your children to our program. Trust us enough to send your children here. This is a very special place. It's a very special brand. I'm sort of reminded of how impressive the University of Alabama brand is. Just last week, I noticed I was in Vienna during a guest conducting thing, and I noticed two things about brands in Vienna. One is, I grew up in Pittsburgh, so everywhere I go, I check to make sure people are using Heinz ketchup. So, absolutely, they're using Heinz ketchup, and even a little cafe across the street from Mozart's house has a bottle of Heinz ketchup there. So, very impressed about that. I'm very mad that they've changed the name of Hinesfield, but we won't get into that. The second thing was, as far as brand goes, I'm walking the streets of Vienna, and you can't go very far until somebody says, "Hey, roll Tide." All right, so that's pretty serious brand recognition right there. So being part of this is very special. My plan is to provide you with information and really give you an opportunity to ask questions at the end. But our mission, you should know what our mission is. Our mission is very clearly spelled out in our handbook, but your sons or daughters may share that with you, they may not. But the basic elements of our mission are, first, we treat people with respect. We may get agitated and that sort of thing, but that's just because we're passionate about what we're doing. It's not anger. You shouldn't confuse passion with anger. It's two different things. Our hope is, because your child is part of this program, it is enhancing their college experience. They'll have a better experience in college because of this. And then ultimately, they could take the lessons learned in this organization and apply them to whatever they do. All right? How do you handle a big workload? How do you handle unexpected emergencies, whatever, because we do that all the time. Just to give you an example, everybody knows we did the Macy's parade last year, and we worked diligently rehearsing for it, knowing exactly how to line up, where the NBC TV area was, and we were ready to go. We were at the starting line, and one of the producers comes up to me and goes, "There's a slight problem." I said, "Yeah." He said, "There's a giant train float in the way." All right? And when I say giant, I'm not sure it would fit into this room. So and it was sitting where we were supposed to stage to get on the TV. So we had to, in a matter of minutes, adapt to the situation and get into the TV area, and our students just perform beautifully because they have so much practice of just adapting to situations. So hopefully, because your children are involved in this activity, this particular program, it'll help them down the road. Of course, we like to provide a musical outlet as well. We are ambassadors. You know, we had one of the football staff speak to our leadership team a couple days ago, and he said, what is the football team? It's a form of entertainment, just like you are. All right, we provide entertainment with just bigger, stronger people. All right, so we are ambassadors for the university. We work very hard to be good ambassadors for the university. We're just this side of working for Disney. All right, we even point with two fingers, never point with one finger. But we take our responsibility as ambassadors for the university very, very serious. So the way we behave is equally important. And of course, we provide support for Crimson Tide athletics, not just football, for all the sports really that ask for our help. You might wonder what's going on with COVID. There are no protocols in place right now at the University of Alabama. If they change, then we adapt to whatever the university wants us to adapt to. And again, it has changed wildly over the last couple of years, and our students just tend to roll with it. Whatever they need to do, they do. So, but we are diligent about following the protocols that the university sets down for us. We've changed the way we do hydration. We used to have hydration stations, but now everybody is responsible. We give everybody a water jug, and everybody's responsible for their own hydration to reduce contamination. We encourage people to wash their hands a lot, to use hand sanitizer, all that sort of thing, because not only can be COVID, if you're brave enough to watch the news every night, you now know that COVID is old news and monkeypox is new news, all right? So we're dealing with the next deals. But we do encourage people to stay safe relative to those things. Other safety factors, hydration in general is a big deal to us. We're always harping on hydration because of where we are in the country. You've got to stay hydrated to stay healthy and to keep performing. At rehearsals, like I said, everybody has a half-gallon jug of water, which easily gets you through the session. On game day, I guess I shouldn't walk in front of the camera, sorry. Behind the camera. On game day, when we get to the quad, we do a pep rally there, and we provide a bottle of water. Then when we get to the stadium, we provide a bottle of water. After pregame, we provide a bottle of water. After halftime, we provide either water or Gatorade. So we are hypersensitive about keeping people hydrated all day long. And of course, it may be uncomfortable, but if you stay hydrated, you'll be okay. Education, we have our talk about eating breakfast and hydrating so that you're able to perform. Whenever the band is out at Butler Field, which is our rehearsal facility, if the band or any part of the band is out there, there are at least 2 trainers out there, certified trainers. So if anybody has a health issue or an injury, they are there to help us. When at a performance on game day, we have nurses with us in the stands. If we're traveling, we have nurses that goes with us along with our trainers. And also, people don't realize that at a game, we have full access to the training folks for the football team. So if there's something that our training folks or nurses can't handle, there are doctors and all sorts of help on the sideline. So rest assured, there are healthcare providers. Whenever the band is around, they're around. And that includes AEDs. We have AED machines at all our rehearsals. When we travel on buses, we have them with us. We want to keep everybody safe. Attendance, we check attendance each day, and we're not like English class. Attendance isn't, are you here or not, and put a check in a book. All right? If you're not here for our rehearsal, somebody's calling you. Are you okay? Are you okay? You're part of the team. We're counting on you. Are you okay? Can we do anything to help you? And that's why I encourage people to get involved in some kind of group activity in college, because your course teachers aren't going to keep up with you. So being involved in something like band, there is somebody that's going to be checking up on you all the time. All right? Frequently asked questions. I'll try to get ahead of you on some of these. Are there tickets set aside for family and parents of band members? No, there is not. There is not. But I could tell you that it's not that difficult to get tickets to Alabama games. There are all kinds of ticket clearing houses, or if you simply walk down University Boulevard before the game, you can buy a ticket. But there's nothing set aside specifically for the band, but you can get tickets. It's not like the old days where they were like hen's teeth. You can always get tickets. Travel for 2022, the full band will be going to Tennessee for the University of Tennessee game. We will send pep bands to Arkansas, LSU, and Ole Miss. And hopefully I could stop a lot of rumors and just talk about Texas for a minute, the University of Texas. And, maybe if you see something insane, like Putin is preventing the $1 Million Band from going to the University of Texas band, you'll be able to provide some data, all right? Here's the deal at the University of Texas. They only give seats for visiting bands in the upper deck. All right? The upper deck. Way at the top. All right? Why they do that? I'm just assuming that they think the bands are so effective in keeping those poor Longhorns from winning games that they put them way at the top. All right? That's the only thing I can imagine why they do that. All right? Even if you had a 400-piece band and you put them up there, it would be difficult to hear them. We were scheduled to send a 50-piece pep band. All right? Putting a 50-piece pep band at the top of that stadium makes no sense at all. They would be invisible. All right? Invisible. And we also worry about their safety. 50 little people in the middle of legions of burnt orange, all right? I don't know why. Honestly, I can't imagine why they do it that way. I could only hope that they're treated equally as well when they come to Tuscaloosa next year, but who knows? So rarely do we not send a band to a game, and that's a big game. That's a big game, but the athletic department and university bands have agreed that we are not sending a band because the University of Texas has not provided adequate tickets. All right? They did not give us the tickets that would allow us to send a band there. It's not our people. All right? It's not me. So when you see people, well, I'm going to start a petition. Well, you can start a petition, but you better send it to Austin because it's them, it's not us. Oh, don't do that. Please don't do that. All right? Please don't do that, because we don't really want to send 50 people to Austin to sit at the top of the upper deck at 11 o'clock in the morning, all right? It's really not a good scenario, okay? But that's the deal with Texas. Arkansas, LSU, Ole Miss will be pep bands, full band to Tennessee. And of course, any postseason travel the entire band goes to, like SEC Championship or College Football Playoff or a bowl game, whatever. The whole band goes. Seating information on the road, as soon as we get it, we'll share it with you. So if you want to try to sit close to us, we can. I could also tell you that directions of shows, the very first show we do against Utah State will be towards the skybox side, which is the side we sit on, all right? Then the next week is at Texas, and the week after that is homecoming band, so it'll go away from our side of the field. And then the next week we'll go away from, which is, I forget who we're playing that week, but it's another non-conference game. So the very first game against Utah State is towards our side of the field, then the next two will go across the field. Texas A&M, which is the fifth game, will come back towards us. And while I'm thinking about it, pregame is quite different this year in that for decades we've done pregame to the press box side of the field, and I'm trying something this year that we're going to alternate. One tune goes to that side, one tune goes to this side, one tune goes to that side. So the opening will go to the press box side, Big Bama Spell Out will come to our side, National Anthem will go to that side, Tusk will go to this side, and then the tunnel. So no matter where you sit, you're going to get 50% of pregame this year. But we will post about halftime, about which I know that matters to people, especially when we get into senior recognition. Instruments, we provide some instruments. We are working very diligently to try to get a matched set of instruments for our band, and you're going to meet some very important people that are working on that project in a few minutes. We have these world-class facilities, both here and at the practice field over there. As far as physical things, one of the last remaining parts of the puzzle is to get matching instruments, but we're not there yet. We do own some instruments like sousaphones and percussion, but things like trumpets and saxophones, students play their own. And in line with that, you see all these lockers here. All these lockers are instrument lockers. There is a locker provided for every single instrumentalist here or in the capstone parking deck over there. You need to know that that instruments that are in those lockers are not insured. All right, so if the place were to burn down, there you would say, this place is never going to burn down. Well, yeah, actually it did a couple of years ago. All right, how did it burn down? Well, someone decided on the first build, do we need that lightning detection thing? Nah. All right, now there's a lightning detection thing up there, all right? But it actually worked to our advantage because when they rebuilt it, we were able to tweak several things, and it's even better than it was before. But bottom line, if you put your personal instrument in one of those lockers and it gets stolen or destroyed, you have to go to your homeowner's insurance to get it covered. University, and it's not just band, they don't have any equipment insurance, all right? They would go broke if they tried to keep up with that. There are also personal lockers upstairs in the locker rooms, and we encourage people that instead of bringing your laptop to Butler Field and setting it on the sideline while you're rehearsing, lock it up upstairs, or your phone or anything like that. It's a safe place to keep your things during rehearsal. The university has something called practice play insurance, and that's a health insurance, and it's for catastrophic injuries, because the deductible is the small deductible is $10,000, all right? So it's meant for serious injury. If you get seriously injured playing at the game or practicing and it gets into over $10,000, then that insurance kicks in. So up to that point, you're using your own personal health insurance. You may have noticed that we asked our members to fill out a medical form. What do we do with that medical form? Well, first, the only people that have access to it are the trainers and the nurses, and the only reason they access it is if we have to take somebody for emergency care. They could access this form. This person's allergic to this. They have this condition, all right? So it's helpful to have a little bit of medical history if something like that happens. Can you visit the band in the stands? If they'll let you. If you could get there, I know in Bryant-Denny Stadium there's lots of checkpoints and you often can't get by them, but I mean, you can't sit by your child in the middle of the band, but you could get close enough to take a nice photograph, or if you could get there, you're welcome to it. What does game day look like? Game day is an all-in experience. I know our first game against Utah is 6 or 6:30, so that day will look like morning rehearsal at Butler Field, and everybody's welcome to come and see that. There's no fence at all over there. Then we take a big chunk of time off, hours, because we want people to rest, hydrate. Then an hour before the game, we start the elephant stomp, head to the stadium, and do the game. So actually those evening games are not as demanding as some of the others. So rehearsal, big break, elephant stomp, game, and we're done. All right. The next thing I'd like to talk about is our wonderful support group. We don't have a band parents organization, but we have something called the Friends of the MDB, which is a support group. And why we call it Friends is because there are lots of people involved that just like to support the activity. Rather, you don't have to have a child in the band to help with that. And they have helped us immensely over the years. All the beautiful graphics that you see in the building were paid for by the Friends of the $1 Million Band. During COVID, when we had to buy all special equipment to be able to participate at all, they provided the funds to do it. They gave us about $100,000 to go to Macy's last year, which greatly reduced the amount of money that our students had to pay. And of course they donate to our scholarship funds as well. It's invaluable to what we do, the Friends of the $1 Million Band, and we're fortunate to have one of their officers here today. He's not only an officer in the Friends, he's an alumnus of the $1 Million Band, and he's also a public school administrator. So this is Mr. Kevin Thomas. He's going to say a few words. Welcome, Mr. Kevin.
Thank you. I appreciate Dr. Ozella giving me the opportunity to speak today. He got me on some very invaluable PD, professional development that I did not have to go to, which was terrific. That's kidding. But also on the way over, I just knew Dr. Ozella was going to say everything about what Friends does before I got up here in front of him.
Sorry.
They
don't do anything.
Exactly.
We'll start over.
I've known him for a long time. I knew he was going to do it. But like he said, we are a support organization. I'm Kevin Thomas. I'm the vice president. We also have Justin Ward, who's our secretary for the organization, and we provide anything that the MDB needs that we can possibly provide. I equate this to kind of like a band booster organization. The only difference is we're not going to make you work concession stand. We're not going to make you work, sell fruit and candy and all that kind of good stuff. Membership is $100. There are several benefits that you get from that. Some newsletter from the MDB, kind of what's going on. There's a wood squad pet ride that they do. That you also have access to. It's a terrific organization. But we like we said, we try to provide anything the MDB needs. We have we provide the money for, or provided a lot of the money for the trip last year, so students didn't have to pay as much for the Macy's trip. We were very proud of the band and the representation they had of not only the University of Alabama, but the state of Alabama with that trip, and just so proud of them. But if you're interested, and we hope that you are, we try to do as much as we can. There's some pamphlets out here in the lobby. If you'll just fill that out, we can take credit card. Is that right, Kevin? Make sure I'm saying that right. Okay. Or you can also join online. But please take one of these pamphlets, fill this out. If you have any questions whatsoever, you can see us out in the lobby, and we'll answer any questions that you may have. So I know you're excited. It's an exciting time. Like I said, I'm an alumni of the band. I was a graduate assistant with the band as well. So I love this organization. I met my wife in this organization. It's just a great deal, and you guys, your students are in the best hands in the country. I'm telling you, Dr. Ozello is one of the finest, no doubt about it. So thank you again for allowing me to speak. Thank you, Dr. Ozello.
Absolutely. Also associated with Friends, he mentioned Mr. Justin Ward. Justin is an alumnus of the group. Yeah, an interesting thing about Justin, one of the iconic parts of our pregame is Tusk, where we make the elephant walks down the field. Well, he wrote that arrangement that we've been doing all these years. So, and he's written several ones. Very talented fellow, but his real job is the director of bands at Pelham High School, and has one of the premier groups in our state, and he's a great friend, and we appreciate his support. Also, we have Mr. Kevin Reed back there. Mr. Kevin is a development officer with the College of Arts and Sciences, and the College of Arts and Sciences is where the home of the $1 Million Band, and he has led many fundraising projects. You might remember Bama Blast last year, where they raised $50,000 for a trip to Macy's. That was all thanks to the work of Kevin Reed and his staff of theirs. So thank you very much, Kevin. Good folks, I don't know about you all, but my wife sends me a text. She says, go to Publix, get some soy milk, get some yogurt, get some pasta, and 3 toys for the dog. I put that through. I'm talking about Publix here, and I put that through the scanner, $89.99. All right. To me, membership in the Friends of $1 Million Band is akin to taking a trip to Publix. At least our Publix. I don't know. Maybe you have a better situation, but our Publix is crazy expensive. But it's for that $100, you would be doing a tremendous service to our organization and to our students. Makes a big difference. Makes a big difference. When you go out, you should go out this way and look at the Macy's wall right there of all those 400 people having their picture taken in Times Square. All right, their smiles are as big as Texas. All right, and that was made possible because of groups like the Friends of the $1 Million Band and the College of Arts and Sciences. So they have a beautiful table display out there. If you'll just go by there, and maybe they'll give you a dog toy or something if you sign up. I don't know about your dogs, but our dog, which is this side of a horse, a dog toy lasts about 45 seconds, because as soon as he gets that squeaker out of there, he's on to the next one. All right, but anyway, if she puts dog toys on the list, I'm getting me some dog toys. All right. Okay, so that's what I have on my list. You must have questions that you want to ask me. I just have to warn you, I'm profoundly hearing challenged. You just have to speak up, or I'll have to get closer to you to hear. And the first question is? No? No. Any questions? I have noticed I learned that if you're dealing with somebody that's hearing challenged, instead of yelling at them, you're simply supposed to walk closer to them. Yes, preview show. The preview show is the Saturday before the first game, which I do believe is the 27th. The 27th, which is a Saturday, and that's a big deal. We do it out here at Butler Field, and there are vendors where you could buy MDB gear. There are sometimes food trucks that you could partake of, but I have to warn you, there are thousands of people that come, so you have to get here early. Parking isn't that big of a deal because you could park here or across the street. And we essentially talk to you about the band, do the halftime show, those sorts of things. But it's a nice event. Gives you some photo ops to get out on the field and take some photographs with your children. Highly, highly recommended. Preview show. It's at 7 for about 15 years. We did it at 5:30, and 14 out of those 15 years it rained. And me being the genius, I figured out it rains every day at 5:30. So we moved it to 7, and in the summer, rain tends to be done at 7 o'clock. And lo and behold, it's maybe 20 degrees cooler at 7 o'clock than it is at 5:30. All right? So it's 7, hopefully cooler. And I'm very encouraged. I watched the weather last night, and the numbers look pretty reasonable for next week, which probably means something bad's coming, but we'll take it. I'm sure there are Texans in here. They have had a struggle this summer. That's bad hot down there. Maybe if they treated their visiting bands a little better. I'm sure that's got nothing to do with it. Other questions? Yes, sir.
Is it possible to augment the sound to the away side using the PA system? Or is
Yes,
it too much?
and they do. That's the plan.
With the main church, you can't hear
Yes.
it.
The problem they run into is the acoustics, because when you run it through the PA system, there's a tremendous delay by the time it gets over there. It's about right halfway, and the challenge they have is the fact that sound travels so slowly. But they do try to run it through. They do. Yes, ma'am.
For the pep band travel, is that usually the upperclassmen that go?
It is. The pep bands are usually about 50, and it starts with the leadership team. The wind player wins in percussion from the leadership team, but then they also fill in with other players as well. We also have pep bands in the spring that play at men's basketball, women's gymnastics, and those folks that participate in there get something called a service award, which is a name for, it's basically a scholarship. So you get to participate, and you get some scholarship money as well. Yes, ma'am.
So just to be clear, the full band for away games only goes to Tennessee?
Second one.
To the away games, the full band just goes to Tennessee?
This year, yes, during the regular season. Now, if there's any postseason like SEC playoff or SEC championship, playoff and entire game. Yes. And Alabama doesn't play very many away games. It's usually 4 a year. So we try to go to at least 1, and then with everybody, we have pep bands. You have to remember, it's incredibly expensive to move 400 people. I mean, crazy expensive. You got to get a lunch. You got to find hotel rooms. It's, that trip to Manhattan last year was insanely expensive, but we made it happen. Others? Yes, sir. Friday evening as late as we can, so that people can use that as a travel day, rehearsal on Saturday morning.
So that Sunday through Friday evening should be open.
Yes, yes it will. Yes it will. All right, and the game, that's the Auburn game, and it's here this year. So, won't be a problem. Last year we got off the plane, went to Slate, got up, and went to Auburn. So that was tough. Yes.
This is a band in Macy's Day Parade, and is it possible you'll do it again?
Now Macy's, we've only been to Macy's one time. That was the first time. That was the first time, and absolutely, we are going to go again. I don't know when. They would love to have us back. They absolutely love the band, the Macy's people. As soon as we were done, they said, "Would you come back?" I said, "Will you write us a check?" We'll be right back. Because it was a lot of money. It was a lot of money. You know, yes. That was the 95th. Hopefully, we'll get back there soon. We not only did the parade, 2 of our units were part of the Radio City Music Hall Christmas Spectacular, which was spectacular. If you've never seen that thing, you got to go check it out. But our Color Guard and Crimsonettes performed right at the beginning of it, and again, when you go out, check out the pictures. The PR value of us doing that event, you couldn't pay for that kind of PR. I mean, it was. I wish we had done it 20 years ago. This is my 20th year of doing the $1 Million Band, the director of the $1 Million Band, which puts me in second place, only to Colonel Butler. But I've been with the band for 34 years, and if I live through the entire year, I will pass up Colonel Butler in total number of years in the program. Now, when I started, I was 3, so I don't want to be very, very old, but 20 years as the director and 34 years with the program. So I've been here a long time. You know, if you look at the history of our band, we've had 4 directors in like 100 years. That kind of continuity, it's hard to find. Hard to find. Yeah. Yes, ma'am.
What travel expenses are the students responsible for?
None. The question is, what travel expenses should the students anticipate? And they really shouldn't have any. We provide all the food. We provide rooms. Really, unless they want spending money, you know, to get souvenirs or anything like that, there should be no expense. Which brings me to another point. If your child has special eating needs, like vegan or whatever, Mr. Potter, is Mr. Potter sitting here? He's working currently. Mr. Potter is our director of operations, who does all the logistics for the band, and he knows it's listed, everybody's food. If you might have an allergy or you only eat certain kinds of food, he knows all that, and he works very hard at making it happen, but sometimes they say they're going to do it and they don't do it. I mean, you know, we're asking Chick-fil-A, whose business it is to make chicken sandwiches, that we need vegan meals. And the guy goes, okay. He probably doesn't even know what a vegan meal is, all right? So why I bring all that up is if your child has special eating needs, you should tell them to bring a backup. So in case the caters that we use didn't come through, because they sometimes they don't. Sometimes they don't. Wow, that's way back. This gentleman here, while I'm on my way back, is Mr. Justin White. He's one of our assistant directors. He's been with us for 2 years now. He comes to us from Thompson High School, where he built a fantastic program, and he does great work for us. So that's Mr. White.
like part of the band. Well, we do here also, and it's made up of members of the $1 Million Band Color Guard. But, believe it or not, in such a big place with wonderful buildings, money is tight. So, we are always trying to raise money for that group. We have some girls out front, in front of the big picture of the band on the field, selling $1 Million Band caps. So if you would like one of these, please stop by and purchase one. People ask if we're going to sell online. You know, this time of year, it's very hard. I mean, it's me and them. And, you know, it's not like we're Amazon. And we're trying to learn and put a show on. And we just don't have the inventory. We don't have a place to store. So we will have these today. Any that are left over, we will have them at the preview show. Also, we have, in very limited supply, a very nice dry fit $1 Million Band t-shirt that we'll have then and will be until later this month. So this will all be in the vendor area at the preview show. But if you like one of these, it's made by The Game. I think everybody's seen those at various places. So if you like one of these, please stop by. There's a question for me, way in the back.
Sorry, I have to
Oh.
we were done.
Oh, they don't hear about it.
You had mentioned scholarship options for the band members that were involved during the spring and things. Is that pretty much the only opportunity to get scholarships for the band?
No, there are two considerations as far as scholarships go. One is when anybody auditions for the group, they're considered for scholarships. The second one is if people have significant needs, like I have to decide whether I'm going to work at Taco Casa or be in the band. I say, well, then come and see me. I can help you out. So there are merit scholarships, and they're not huge by any means, based on playing. But then we also help people out if they're in you know, if you're trying to go to school, work at Taco Casa, and be in a band, that's too much, right? Send them to see me, and I will do my best to try to help them out. And those scholarships can be on top of any academic scholarships they get. Yes, sir.
If you don't get to go to the game, is there any way you can see the halftime show? Do they may post it or anything like that?
Say that one more time.
If you don't have the opportunity to go to the game,
Yes.
is there any way you get to watch the halftime show? Because usually on TV,
Yes, we post them. We post them on our website. We do post our performances online. Yes,
Can
ma'am.
I say something about that too?
Yes.
Any game that is covered by any ESPN network, which is also ABC, most of the time they put their halftime, they live stream the halftime shows on the ESPN app.
Yes, that's true.
And they've done that for 5 or 6 or 7 years.
Yeah.
And so we try to get that out on our social media stuff, but probably the number one complaint that we get on social media is why isn't the band on TV? And that's another one of those things, I guess the University of Texas controls the TV. That's one of those things that we can't control, but those are usually, if it's an ABC game, CBS does their own thing, or sorry, an ESPN Family Network game. CBS doesn't do it, but all of the postseason is ESPN. ESPN owns the college football playoff, I think. So all of those are usually on the ESPN app, and you kind of have to dig for them, but they're always in there.
Thank you. And this is Dr. Whitaker, by the way. You have seen Dr. Whitaker's work, whether you know it or not. He's been taking photographs of the band for, I don't know, at least 10 years, yes?
7 or 8 at least.
Yes, and he takes all those beautiful photographs, all those graphics that you see outside are his photographs. But that's his side thing. His real job is he's the professor of trombone here at the University of Alabama, has one of the best trombone studios in the world, has performed on several occasions with the New York Philharmonic, all right? So he does a lot of things, but he's a superb musician, first and foremost. There's another gentleman, our newest member of our staff, who just joined us like a week ago, and we're very excited to have him. This gentleman's name is Mr. Mark Hunter, and will be heading up our percussion program, our marching percussion program. He comes to us from Austin, Texas, because he was bad. But he didn't work at the University of Texas. He worked at one of the premier high school bands there, Vanderbilt High School, was a member of the DCI Cavaliers, performed with the Broadway show Blast. Very impressive resume. This is Mr. Mark Hunter. So let's He's actually from Chicago, so he's not really a Texan. He's a Chicagoan, so if you want to talk pizza, he's your man. All right? Again, that's series going to be very nice. Yes, ma'am. Yes. Those who don't travel have the weekend off. Yes. Those who don't travel have the weekend off. And if you, nobody has a longer season than the $1 Million Band. Right now, the date is August 5th. It's nearly 100 degrees out. When we are done, usually you could go to Target and pick up your Valentine's Day card. All right, because we're typically in the football playoff, which is mid-January. That's a long time. That's like 3 seasons from now. Summer, fall, winter. So you have to look at it in chunks to keep your sanity. And if you look at it in chunks relative to off weekends, we play the first game, we get an off weekend. We play a couple more games, we get an off weekend. If you look at it in segments like that, it's much more manageable. All right. Fortunately, if you're playing in December and January, those are high-profile, exciting games, and it's easy to get excited about them. Yes, ma'am.
Along those lines, if we go to the playoffs, will that mean they have an abbreviated Christmas break?
An abbreviated
Christmas break?
a little bit, just a little bit, but those bowl games are usually very close to, the semi game is usually close to January 1st. So that's well beyond the point where college kids go, boy, I love coming home for Christmas, but it's time to go back. It's time to go back. All right, I was a college kid one day. I remember that. Yes, ma'am.
Sorry, I have a texted question from the DCI kids that are coming late. Did they just show up on Monday for rehearsal, or when did they check in?
The DCI people should check in with our Director of Operations, Mr. Potter, which is right upstairs, and he'll get them set up.
Okay.
And we have several students doing drum corps. Several. Other questions? Yes, ma'am.
Just for scheduling purposes, when will the students know if they're going to be in this pep game?
It's probably 2 weeks before Easter. Yeah. Yes, ma'am.
In your personal opinion, do you find it best for these students not to work coming in as a freshman?
Yes. If all things
I
equal,
want your honesty.
yes, because I don't want to stress them out. If you're trying to work, you're trying to be in the band, and most importantly, you're trying to be a student. But it's unavoidable for some. But if you could avoid that situation, you know, your first GPA is where everything is based on. You don't want to start off with a 0 point something, because it takes you a long time to get it back up to where it needs to be. And rest assured, the average GPA in the band is crazy high. Just like it was in high school. The bands attract very bright people. And manage time. You know, we rehearse from 4 to 5:30. You know what most college kids do at 4 to 5:30? They go back to their apartment and they watch reruns of Friends. All right, 4 to 5:30. Okay? So, and it's real easy to gain weight as a freshman in college because you're starting to eat a ton of carbs and you're not getting outside. Well, our students are outside exercising a couple hours a day, which is good. It's good to get outside. Yes. All right, other questions? No more questions? I can't answer anything else? You don't care how I feel about the offensive line rebuild?
I have a question.
Yes, ma'am.
My student was just added to the roster, praise the Lord. But he had already purchased a set of football tickets.
Yes.
I read online that we would be offered a refund, but what if we don't want it?
You start that over.
My son bought a set of football
Yes.
tickets.
Oh.
And online they said they would offer him a refund.
Yes.
But we want to convert those to
They won't let
tickets. They won't let you.
They won't let, that's a great point. Again, don't shoot the messenger, but the ticket folks make us send them a roster of everybody's in the band so that they can't purchase football tickets. And if they already purchased them, they won't let you convert them. So if they offer you a refund, you should do it. Their rationale is that you already get a ticket to get in the game, and they want to give that ticket to some other person who shows up late and leaves in the third. No, I think it stinks, but when they first started this, they said, well, your students get in the game for free anyway. And I said, free? Really? At some point, one of my colleagues was holding me back because I wanted to put my hands around their neck. It ain't free. We get out there for hundreds of hours, and we pay for our opportunity to perform. It ain't free, all right? But unfortunately, that's the way it is. That's the way it is, and I really have no control over that. Yes?
So there's no option for students to have an and to buy tickets for their parents to come in?
No, they have it locked down. If you're in the band, you're not buying a ticket. All right? You're not buying a ticket. Other questions? Yes, ma'am.
Was the percussion practice the same amount of time as the winds?
I heard percussion.
Yes, does percussion practice the same amount of time as the winds?
The percussion, in addition to regular rehearsals, one night a week do a sectional rehearsal, and it's typically on Wednesday, either right after practice or Wednesday night. Also, the color guard does that too. All right. So, but in general, the wind players do not have extra sections. Percussion does. Color guard does. Other questions? Yes, sir.
We come from a high school culture where the band is usually considered the redheaded stepchildren of the school.
Yes.
Is the band members highly respected here?
I believe so. I know that Coach Saban's coming over here to thank us for our work in a couple of days, and he's invited us over to football practice to teach the players, the new players, the fight song. So I think there's a great respect between the two. I really do. Yes, ma'am.
Can you talk a little bit about the student tickets and what have you? Is there, probably not at this point, but is there like a designated area for band parents to be able to buy, or is it just every band for themselves?
Yeah, it's basically anyone. If what you do want to try to do is, if you're going to buy a ticket from a broker or off the street, is know which direction the show is going to go, so you could watch the show. Whether it's going to be skyboxes, which is our side, or press. People call that the press box, the direction the logo faces, but the press box isn't over there anymore. It's on this side. It's tucked into a little corner, but we just call it the press box side because it was that way for 100 years. You all have first year members. you would, if you had our handbook, you could see that there's a very large section about hazing. There's absolutely no hazing in the $1 Million Band. Even somebody kids about it, they're in big trouble. We don't do anything like that. We treat our first-year members, we don't call them rookies, we call them first-year members because we can't do this without them, and we have great respect for them. So if you have any concerns about that, you should. Doesn't happen. Doesn't happen. Yes, ma'am.
Are you gonna post that, schedule online about which direction the band
Yes,
is?
we will. As soon as we find out, as soon as we know, and I can tell you those first few games, Utah State is definitely going to be towards our side. I can't remember who that next non-conference game is, but it's the week after Texas. That, there you go. That'll be towards the other direction, and then alumni band will be in that direction, and then Texas A&M will be back towards our side. That's about half the season. So from there, we'll have to figure it out. Yes?
I'm sorry, when you say our side, you mean towards AA, where the band is sitting?
Yes, correct. The side that we sit on.
Visitor side.
Yes. If you think about the logo, it's the side opposite of where the logo is facing. All right. Other questions? Yes, ma'am. That's fine. They're free.
There's a, parents, like, mail list or any kind of.
There is a Facebook page that's parents of MDB, but that's not run by us.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's not us. I'm not sure who the administrators are, but it's not us. And generally, it seems to be useful, accurate information. I can't verify that because we're not the administrators, but generally, when I look at it, what they're saying is correct. You know, occasionally something insane will get on there, you know. Dr. Ozello dyes his hair. Not true. Absolutely not true.
Dr. O,
Wait, I got a notice about my hair point. Yes?
the band does have its own official social media channels, and we have hired somebody that is their job to do. And so I would encourage all of you to either on Facebook or Instagram to follow those.
Yes.
The woman that's doing that posts very, very frequently, and when in doubt, that is the official information. If in terms of stuff being posted on social media, if it's on those channels, it's correct.
What's the actual name of those?
On Instagram, I think the name of it is just $1 Million Band, and then on Facebook, it's Alabama Bands.
Yep. We have a person dedicated to doing social media posts. Any others? Yes, sir.
When on TV, the cameras never get up far enough to see the mellows and the tubes. Who at Texas is to blame for that?
Some guy named Abbott or something down there. Yeah, it's more people can hear us up high. We would get more TV time down low. It's sort of a trade-off. So we've sat everywhere in that stadium, other than this side. Any other questions? You know anybody that could help us with demolition?
Yeah.
You do?
I wouldn't trust them with any dynamite.
Are you worried about your house?
Yeah.
We have a fantastic collection of students. They do everything. They build rockets. They help demolish Tutwiler. I mean, it's just, that's one of the cool things about the $1 Million Band is it is a true cross-section of the university, and just about every major at the university is represented by the band. Most people think it's all music majors, and that couldn't be further from the truth. There's probably about 15% music majors Then there's everything else. So mostly engineers. There are more engineers. People could say, can I be an engineering major and still be in the band? Absolutely. Can I be a nurse and still be in the band? Come out there one day and see how many of our students have their scrubs on because they came straight from clinicals to band. Yeah, yes, you can do it. It's done all the time. One of our cymbal section leaders was part of a team that lifted off a rocket this past spring. So you can be a rocket scientist and be in the band, no doubt. You have to manage your time, just like anything else, but you can do it. Those signs are true. Legends are made. Legends are made here at the University of Alabama. Any others? We certainly appreciate you coming. We have another meeting in here. If you would consider going to the Friends of the $1 Million Band table right out there and helping us out, we appreciate